Welcome back to the MLS Show. This is the Mix Zone. We're going to be discussing a few topics on this one. Look out for our, mixing it up. Look out for our other videos, one on Orlando City, one about New York City and a sport in Kansas City, Poku and wage cap. We just threw everything in there. Check that one out.
Should have been called the Mix Zone.
This should have been. It could have been the mix, not the full zone, because we didn't extend it.
This could be called the Mixed Grill Zone.
You know what? I would love a mixed grill at the moment. Let's start off with Nigel De Jong. Suspended at the weekend for LA's win in Seattle, I think it was. He wasn't playing because of a bit of a naughty tackle against Vancouver. There's been, on the forums and different places, there's been a bit of uproar about this. It's a naughty challenge from De Jong. Some people asking, should he be banned from MLS? Should he be kicked out for those tackles?
Who was that? Who? Nuns?
So, Ped, the tackle first and foremost. Red card, yes or no?
Probably, yeah. It's a little bit late.
Yeah. Jumped, not in control.
Is anyone ever in control in a tackle? Like, properly? Like, can he honestly go, well, I was aiming for that, and honestly, he knows what
he's left the floor, hasn't he?
Just about. He's sliding. It's a dodgy tackle, but listen.
Red card, yes or no?
Yellow and a half.
Chris, red card, yes
red
or no?
Red card for me, like.
Yeah, red card for me.
I think he goes through the ankle, like.
Yeah, goes to...
Only one ankle.
Only one this time.
But we've already seen him do a naughty challenge on Darlington Nagby, which put him out for 5 or 6 weeks. He was retrospectively banned after that, amongst the referee only gave me yellow. This time, he's got the straight red. But
they can do that in MLS. They can retrospectively ban if the ref's seen something. That's cool,
Apparently.
Maybe they need to sort that out in England.
They make it up as they go along.
Okay, cool. Okay.
But, you know, all of this talk of kicking him out the league because of these tackles.
That's pathetic.
Okay.
That's madness. It's that's soccer mom stuff, that, isn't it? That is great. No, it is.
Waiting for the
no, it is.
Moms,
No, that's just patheticness. That.
Okay.
It's still a contact sport. We've lost a lot of that, but just because he gets punished by being banned, gets punished by not playing, he'll be fined, and the club will probably fine him. If he loses his place in the team because he's being out, then that's punishing him. But just because someone's a little bit more industrial than some other players, that's not a reason to kick them out. That would just make the league look like a laughing stock.
Okay.
And I'm not being funny, but the league at the moment could do with a little bit more of an upturn than a downturn because of, I've said this before, the likes of China and the way players are going. That's not the league's fault, but it doesn't need to be kicking out good players just because they can't tackle properly.
I mean, we've seen this season some red cards for that we would perceive in England as an absolute nonsense. You know, when people are going through, MLS are trying to protect the ball players, so to speak. I mean, Chris, you know, Ped's had his view on it, kicking them out the league.
I think it's stupid as well, to be honest with you. I think there are ways and means. Now, look, if the fines are anything like they are in England, they're not big enough. I don't think they're big enough in England when you get fined for the clubs or for the players, because the money's changed and they're still fining on like the 70s stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think you can do stuff where you can say to a player, look, you know, this is how much money you've got to pay, and it actually might hurt him and might make him think again. De Jong's done this throughout his entire career. Unfortunately, what it kind of goes against what you're saying, really, Ped, is he's done this throughout his entire career, and none of these things have worked, none of these bans so far. But the one thing with footy is you can't tell if the guy's meant it or not. So you can't kick him out if he's making a genuine attempt at the ball, because he could be, for all we know. You're never inside someone's head. You can't say if he's gone for it or not. But it's a red card. He does need to be banned for a game or two. He needs to be fined. Someone needs to go and have a word with him.
Okay, moving on.
Where do you sit on it?
Yeah, I think it was a red card for me as well. I think I'd give him something like a 6-game ban, to be honest, and let his club deal with it, because it's the second time he's received, you know, a ban this season. I think that, for me, some of the tackles, there was another one, I can't even remember the game was given. It might have been the Colorado game, and for me, it wasn't a red card. The challenge went in, the lad's gone through, but it wasn't a red card. He was sent off. De Jong's, for me, there's no argument, it's a straight red. But second time in the season, big ban and a big fine for me. And if he carries on again, you just increase it until his club becomes...
The thing about it is, though, sorry, just to...
Go ahead, mate.
The thing about it is that if it keeps going and he feels like he's being overly punished,
He'll go
anyway. He'll just go.
So,
not bothered.
there you go.
Go to China.
One little bit of with transfer news, and it's a bit of a mad one of how MLS works. Lloyd Sam traded to DC United for general allocation money. Was basically...
What does that mean?
He's a good player, that general allocation. Though.
What does that mean?
But basically, he got a phone call on Thursday saying, pack your bags because you're off to DC. Transfer
We've
window...
all seen Moneyball. We know how it works.
I've seen that. I know how it works. I'm a Liverpool fan. That was like part of my research when we got bought out.
But there you go. Basically, he's just gone against the wishes. Even Jesse Marsh, who's the manager, kind of alluded to the fact it wasn't his decision to move him out. They've moved him out to free up money for another spot or whatever. He'd recently lost his place to Alex Mueller, young kid who's been doing very well. But Sam has been really good.
This is where MLS sort of... I know I was having a go at it before, but this is where it works in the terms of the structure at the moment. Is that you've got a guy there who's sitting on the bench at the moment. Okay, you know, he's had the last few seasons he's done all right, but this season doesn't seem to be clicking, and they've just gone, well, you sit on the bench, you're not doing anything. We could do with some money to get someone else. So how about you just go? Whereas we're sort of in a country where they just sit on the bench and earn a lot of money. Over there, it's like within the structures at the moment, it's like we haven't got time for you to be sitting around. And this is what it works in MLS as well, because it's like, because MLS will be looking and going, no, that Lloyd Sam, he's a good player. He shouldn't really be sitting on the bench. He could be helping somebody else. We'd like to keep him in the league. And they've gone, I'm not saying they've got any kind of influence, but that's how that rule sort of works. It's like, well, if he's not playing for you, then he goes. It's like when what's his name left Columbus Crew? Kamara. It was like, you've done something wrong. Bye. There's no messing about. It's just you're out the door. You're playing for someone else. There's no messing about because you're within the structure of MLS. So it's just you just get on with it.
I mean, and DC have got themselves a good player there, haven't they? Because he is. I mean, the players. Dax McCarthy tweeted Bradley Wright Phillips, a few others tweeting, you know, how much they're going to miss him and you know, disappointed to see him go. But DC have got themselves a good player, but it's still a little bit to us, European, you know, English league. It still feels a little bit.
It's good to see clubs being in control, though, isn't it? Clubs being in control of their players, because I'm fed up of it in England, to be perfectly honest with you, where they just spit the dummy out, and if they want to go, they go, and that's horrible to watch. Like.
It's good, but it's good that someone's just picked up the phone and gone, he's not playing, so what do you want to do? All right, we'll have him.
Ben Olsen, absolutely delighted to take him over at DC. One of the big stories, well, it could be a big story, but Twitter, which is a social media we all use.
Is it a social media?
It's a social media that we all use, believe it or not. Talking to a lot of major leagues in America, but I'm only interested in MLS. They're talking to MLS about getting more access, more content. Someone mentioned them streaming the games. I don't think that's going to happen at this moment in time. But pre-game content, post-game content, stuff like that, I think it could be a really, really good tool to spread the growth of the league. Thoughts?
I think that watching sports via social media sites will very much be the future. We spend so much time on social media that it only makes logical sense that be the next place that it will be available. We've just seen sort of, I mean, we're getting sort of pushed into doing the Facebook Live. We're being told, do it, it's going to be the next big thing. And it will be the next big thing because people keep on telling us it's going to be the next big thing. So if there's a game on Facebook, you've just opened the market up to everyone. Now it's the same with Twitter. And Twitter actually needs to start pulling up some trees because it's not as popular as maybe what we think it is, and it's starting to lose a little bit of traction. And something like this could be a really big thing just to get people signed up to it, and then also have sponsors. And I mean, you can imagine if you're sitting here watching it, you've got a massive market. You might do a little bit of time while you're watching it just on Twitter as well, randomly, and you get all the promoted tweets and all that kind of thing. So I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's going to be a big thing in the next 10 to 15 years that we'll start watching sporting events through the likes of YouTube, Facebook, ones that haven't even been invented. I mean, you might swipe left and find you're watching a Premier League game on some apps. Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. Chris?
I think it's really interesting. I think Twitter for the MLS will be good if they just stick with more of the pre and post match stuff rather than live streaming games. I think Twitter and Facebook's quite like this at the minute, although I think Facebook will, like Ped says, maybe one day start streaming long form content. I do quite a lot of work with Twitter, with Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram and all that type of stuff. Twitter's made for short, sharp videos. Right. You're not on there for 30, 40-minute videos at the minute. Like YouTube look to be aiming to go long-form content a little bit, and Twitter, obviously, the short stuff. And you can have that. You know what, right? Here's something that someone told me years ago when we were talking about it. You don't need the actual rights to the stuff. You can it's like a ring donut. There's no middle, but the rest's really tasty. Well, the Premier League's got the fucking jammy middle, haven't they, of the game rights and stuff like that. It's a lovely donut. Yeah. But a ring donut's still good. And that's all the stuff around the outside. And Twitter will just be having all that stuff around the outside regarding the MLS, and it'll just be growing as a brand. And that's what I think why MLS should.
Do you know what it'd be good for? It'll be good for like you've just said, content stuff, but it'd be good for content for things like us. Yeah. Having these kind of shows, and then before games, halftime. I mean, we've seen that. We've started seeing that already. We've seen that, Chris, haven't we, and stuff that we know about. And you might start seeing a lot more of that, and them asking people to do stuff like that more and more. But yeah, I think it could really, really work. And if the clubs get involved themselves, I mean, imagine something we've already discussed: emoji commentaries. Do you know what I mean? No, someone misses it, and you just get the steaming. Thing.
Yeah. I'm mad to it. Right, let's leave it there. Finally, Jurgen Klinsmann. Twofold this discussion. First of all, I want to look at it from the USMNT's point of view, and obviously he's been linked with becoming the new manager of England. He's up against Sam Allardyce, if you believe the press. If he loses that, he wants to have a look at himself if he loses that race. But Jurgen Klinsmann for the United States, Ped, obviously they got beaten by Argentina in the semi-finals of Copa America. And he came in for a bit of criticism after that in terms of, and we've given him a bit of a kicking in terms of some of the people he's chosen. Just quickly before we look at the England thing, from a United States point of view, what do you think he's done well, and what do you think he's done not so well in his tenure so far?
That's a tough one. I think what he's done well, you may not see for another 15 years. I think I think because he's not just the manager, he's not just the coach. He's like he's the whole thing basically. He's the jammy donut as well. Yeah, and
there we
the
go.
Outside bit.
You missed the F word out, but go on.
Well, yeah, because
it's the jam ring full donut.
And I think they broke ground the last couple of days in Kansas as well on the new their version of St. George's Park. Basically, they've never had a national centre. That's going to be in Kansas. I think that's broke ground this week. I think that's something. I would think that it's something he's got involved in. And I don't think what he's done for the American team is said, right, you've got these players, you've got your Landon Donovans, you've got your Dempseys, but there's no one else coming. And there isn't, let's be honest, there's no one, is there? There's no big household name that's coming through at the moment. There's no one in the Premier. I mean,
Christian Pulisic, who's playing for Borussia Dortmund, but he's only 17.
But this is what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that they've had this conveyor belt of players that have come over to Europe and done all right, and there's no more of them. I mean, Jeff Cameron's the only one in the Premier League now, I think, basically. Other players have been dragged back to MLS against the wishes of Jurgen Klinsmann. So what he's had to do, he's had to go over to Germany, and he's had to bring players in, and it's not really helped the national team long term, but short term, I think it's helped them. They're not playing good. They don't really play good football. They play effective football to a point. But there's not many kids coming through, and I think, but it's going to take a while.
Right. Okay. Let me ask you this then. Just put Klinsmann to one side. For the growth of the United States soccer team, what did they have to do? I was reading a piece last week, and people were saying,
I know what they have
people
to do.
were saying they get pats on the back for getting beat 4-0. Now, is it time to criticise some people? Is it time to start saying, you're not good enough, end the story, you're not good enough?
I've seen that interview you're talking about. Yeah. And it was spot on, because it was from a guy who's not necessarily a football guy. He's a multi-sports guy.
Cowdrey, is it?
Yeah, I think it's something like that. He's not someone I'm familiar with. I think he's a very much a... And what he was saying is right. He said it's about time that US soccer gets treated like all the other sports.
Yeah.
If someone's crap, you tell him he's crap. Stop mollycoddling and saying, "Oh, it's all right because we're not. This is not our sport."
Yeah.
Start getting harsh on people. Start telling home truths at every level. Goes back to the soccer mom thing. It goes back to kids and playing and not
competitive.
I mean, we were brought. Think about the way we were brought up in this country. Learning it wasn't exactly a nice experience when we were younger. Being a footballer, it was horrible. The conditions for a start were horrible. The coaches weren't.
You didn't get your arm round.
They didn't pat you on the back and go, "It's all right, mate." You weren't. I mean, I wasn't used to that anyway because I always had good games. But for the people who didn't have good games, it
must have been hard for them.
It must have been hard for them. I didn't experience it that much. But it's about time US soccer got to kick up the arse.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right when US will embrace soccer, or it's when they get a superstar. And I've always said that.
Christian Pulisic could be that man. He
Well,
looks like a real cracker.
When they get a superstar that can go on the MTV Awards, honestly, it's when he can go on TV and just be recognised by everyone and he's a star and he's playing in Europe and he's playing for Real Madrid or Barcelona.
And he's top 5 players in the world.
Exactly, and he's like lightning and letting. He's got boot deals and he's got all this and he's the face of a company and all this kind of thing across the world. That's when everyone in America will embrace it.
For me, I just don't understand the way, how they are. They're one of the most passionately patriotic nations in the world, and they're competitors. They want to win in everything that they do. They go to the Olympics and they batter. They do everything to try and win gold medals, and they do that in all types of sport apart from footy. Yeah. And it's crazy, and it's like, I'm surprised there's people in that system who haven't got more pride in what they do.
Because I'll tell you why, because it's still a middle-class sport. It's still a middle-class sport. It's still, the bottom level is still, and I'm not criticising, but the bottom level is still, kids get taken by, there's a reason why I call soccer mums, they're taken by the mums who are all giving it all the bifters, but there's no, I don't know if anyone actually takes it seriously till they get to like, maybe 14 or 15, do you know what I mean? It's still not a grassroots sport. It doesn't have horrible people play. I mean, I go back, I used to fear some teams knowing that you would turn up and you were just going to get booted all over the park and someone was going to tell you what they were going to do to you after the game and all that. And that's when I was like 9 and 10, not when I was 15 and 16. I knew if I turn up for it. But then there's people who go, do you know what? I'm going to absolutely embrace this today. I'm going to give it, that fella says he's going to kill me after the game. He's going to kill me anyway, but I'm going to make him look like a dickhead while we're playing. I think the whole sport needs to toughen up.
Yeah,
and get past it.
I think that's where it is. Moving from that then, Chris, to the England point of view on Jurgen Klinsmann. Is he someone who you would want in, or?
No, not really, to be perfectly honest with you. I think there are advantages to looking at somebody who is an international manager. They understand how that works. I don't think it's as easy as probably people think it is to be an international manager. You've got to get your points across and your methods and stuff in a very short period of time. I think the next England manager for me needs to be someone who's going to be there for the long haul. It needs to be a 10-year job, and but it's got to be someone young enough and progressive enough in the coaching style that they can make England play how our league plays. That's for me what we need to do. I think Germany are a really good example of what you can do if Lowe was brought in 2006. They've had the World Cup win under his stewardship and stuff, but they play like their league plays football. England just copy the next fad. We try and play a little bit of possession football here and there, and there's no identity to how we play. There hasn't been an identity since Glenn Hoddle was the manager, and you knew you were watching a Glenn Hoddle side, and back then, Liverpool were playing 3 at the back, Tottenham were playing 3 at the back, quite a few teams in the league were playing 3 at the back. They played like we did then. For me, Klinsmann doesn't really suit that. And, I'm not saying it's an easy task to pick a new manager for England, because, to be honest, I don't know who I'd pick. I don't really care that much, but...
Fair enough. Ped, anything to add to that before we wrap up?
I just think, I think they're looking at Klinsmann for all those reasons. He's good in front of a camera, and to be honest, I don't think they're really looking at him for what he's done with the US. I think they're looking at him what he did with Germany, what he set up.
Yeah.
I know he's not really liked universally in America, but I think I don't know. I just think he's tried to adapt things because he's not got the best pool of players, and then people moan because he doesn't pick the.
I think he's focused so much on that he's missing what's right in front of him in the games.
I don't know. He just doesn't pick a lot of MLS players that it seems to be in form. Now maybe that's because he just thinks they're just nowhere near the level. I mean, he's openly said he didn't want anyone playing. He didn't want Dempsey to come back from Europe. He didn't want anyone to come back from Europe, to be honest, to play in MLS, because he just doesn't think it's good enough. And I think that's the top and bottom of it. And I suppose those two things are supposed to work in hand. They've got all the players playing in MLS, but he's going to Germany and finding these players. And
well, I mean, for me, Finley and Wynn should have been in that side anyway, because they're both good enough compared to what else he's come up with. But I personally, I don't really want him as the England man. Like you, I'm not that bothered, to be fair. But I wouldn't have.
I think what people in America don't want to look at is the fact that they just don't have enough talent. And the only way they're going to get talent is by getting a centre of excellence, which he's putting in place. So he's working with what he's got. Don't get me wrong, I'm not his biggest fan either, but he's working with what he's got, and it's just not good enough. And I don't think enough people are admitting that it's not good enough, or asking the question why it isn't good enough.
Yeah.
And we've said it. We've said it. What we started with it. Too many people get pats on the back for being rubbish, and there you go. And then that's the top and bottom of it. And they do. And then the other thing I think is wrong with the American team, I've said this for ages. They win that stupid Gold Cup, and everyone thinks they're amazing. And then
they're better off. They'll learn more from the Copa America.
I've said this before. Go to the Copa America. Try and get an invite. Host the Copa
all the time.
Every 4 years.
But reduce the ticket prices.
Yeah. Get battered a little bit. Get smacked around the head a little bit. Get shown up a little bit, and you'll start learning.
That's like Italy in the Six Nations, to be honest.
Yeah.
They weren't in there.
Rugby
They were
union.
crap for years. Never been a rugby country. They get in the Six Nations. They've started to turn the corner a little tiny bit now, like
Look at the likes of Ireland and Wales and Iceland, and
they get a sniff. They get a sniff of a competition. They get a chance to qualify for it. They start putting things in place. They get there and they do really, really well. And I think sometimes you just need to be smacked down the head a little bit. I'm not told.
Metaphorically.
No, not metaphorically.
Yeah. Right.
And not someone keep blowing smoke up your ass. You need to be told, and I think that's something that has to be brought in.
Again, if you want Ped involved in US soccer,
I am not blowing smoke up your...
in the comment section below. Before we wrap it up, just looking down the results this weekend. Orlando City 0, Houston Dynamo 0. It was woeful. Dallas winning 1-0 at San Jose. Brilliant overhead kick there if you haven't seen it. That's by Rutti. It was a classic one. They stay top of the Western Conference. LA, Robbie Keane back with the winning goal in Seattle. Philadelphia Union, tremendous at the moment. They beat DC United 3-0. Alberg, what a player for them. Kai Kamara scored against his old club for the Reds. They won 3-1 the other day against Columbus.
Satisfying. Pity it wasn't a penalty.
Oh, well, yeah, would have been quite ironic. Toronto beat Chicago, Vancouver and Colorado. Tim Howard conceding his first goal since moving back to MLS. Real Salt Lake drew 1-1 with Montreal Impact. Red Bulls and Portland wasn't a very good game last night. I watched that one. And Sporting Kansas City 3, New York City 1. Anything you want to leave, do it in the comment section below. Me and the lads will be back next week. Take it easy. Soccer moms, wave to Ped. Give him all your love because he absolutely loves you. We'll see you next time on the MLS Show.
You're all nonsense. Then that's punishing him. But just because someone's a little bit, a little bit more industrial than some other players, that's not a reason to kick them out. That would just make the league look like a laughingstock.
Okay.
And I'm not being funny, but the league at the moment could do with a little bit more of an upturn than a downturn because of, I've said this before, the likes of China and the way players are going. That's not the league's fault, but it doesn't need to be kicking out good players just because they can't tackle properly.
We've seen this season some red cards for that we would perceive in England as an absolute nonsense. When people are going through, MLS are trying to protect the ball players, so to speak. I mean, Chris, Ped's had his view on it, kicking him out the league.
I think it's stupid as well, to be honest with you. I think there are ways and means now.
Doubt for those tackles.
Who was that? Who? Nuns.
So Ped, the tackle first and foremost. Red card, yes or no?
Probably, yeah. It's a little bit late.
Yeah. Jumped, not in control.
Is anyone ever in control in a tackle? Like properly? Like can they honestly go, well, I was aiming for that, and honestly, he knows what
He's left the floor, hasn't he?
just about. He's sliding. It's a dodgy tackle, but listen,
Red card, yes or no?
yellow and a half.
Chris, red card, yes
Red
or
card for me, like.
no? Yeah, red card for me.
I think he goes through the ankle, like.
Yeah, goes to he
Only
he
one
knows
ankle.
what he's doing.
Only one
Yeah.
this time.
But we've already seen him do a naughty challenge on Darlington Nagby, which put him out for 5 or 6 weeks. He was retrospect.
Look, if the fines are anything like they are in England, they're not big enough. I don't think they're big enough in England when you get fined for the clubs or for the players, because the money's changed and they're still fining on like the 70s stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think you can do stuff where you can say to a player, look, you know, this is how much money you've got to pay, and it actually might hurt him and might make him think again. De Jong's done this throughout his entire career. Unfortunately, what it kind of goes against what you're saying, really, Ped, is he's done this throughout his entire career, and none of these things have worked, none of these bans so far. But the one thing with footy is you can't tell if the guy's meant it or not. So you can't kick him out if he's making a genuine attempt at the ball, because he could be, for all we know. You're never inside someone's head. You can't say if he's gone for it or not. But it's a red card. He does need to be banned for a game or two. He needs to be fined. Someone needs to go and have a word with him.
Effectively banned after that once the referee only gave me yellow. This time he's got the straight red. But to
They
kick
can
him,
do that in MLS. They can retrospectively ban if the ref's seen something. That's cool, isn't it?
apparently.
Maybe they need to sort that out in England.
Make it up as they go along.
Okay, cool. Okay.
But you know, all of this talk of kicking him out the league because of these tackles.
That's pathetic.
Okay.
That's madness. It's that's soccer mum stuff, that, isn't it? That is great. No, it is.
Waiting for the
no,
soccer
it is.
mums,
No,
yeah.
that's just patheticness. That
Okay.
it's still a contact sport. We've lost a lot of that, but just because he gets punished by being banned, gets punished by not playing, he'll be fined, and the club will probably fine him. If he loses his place in the team because he's being out.
Welcome back to the MLS Show. We're talking. This is the Mix Zone. We're going to be discussing a few topics on this. We'll look out for our mixing it up. Look out for our other videos. One on Orlando City, one about New York City and a sport in Kansas City, Poku and Wade Cap. We just threw everything in there. Check that one out.
Should have been called the Mix Zone.
It should have been. It could have been the mix, not the full zone, because we didn't extend it.
This could be called
like
the
it.
mixed grill zone.
You know what? I would love a mixed grill at the moment. Let's start off with Nigel De Jong. Suspended at the weekend for LA's win in Seattle, I think it was. He wasn't playing because of a bit of a naughty tackle against Vancouver. There's been, on the forums and different places, there's been a bit of uproar about this. It's a naughty challenge from De Jong. Some people asking, should he be banned from MLS? Should he be kicked